Do you think this committee is what we need at this moment? Rekwende.
Well, yes, thank you so much, Abraham. It's a two-edged sword. One way or the other, we need them because we will not give reference to the fact that there was a similar committee a few months ago, if my memory serves me right. We didn't know what happened at the end when that one was inaugurated, and it just, I don't know, went into the cooler. So another one is here again. We want to believe the governor doesn't want to give up. A good spirit in that aspect, but actually from outside Taraba, we don't know where they are going to host the event so far. Is it in Abuja or is it in Jalingo? So the cost of having them always coming to Jalingo, flight tickets, hotel, honorarium, and from the list I saw there are people you don't just give them anything less than I don't know how to, I don't want to quantify the amount. So we look at the cost. I just pray we don't end up spending too much in keeping them or running the committee, and then at the end of the day they go into the cooler. So we can't stop asking for investors. We have to keep pushing, and we just pray that this committee does a better job than the former one, so that we don't just have people who are just on the committee list. At the end of the day, nothing is happening, and then the government is losing money forming committees, honorarium for all these people and all whatnot. So I just feel it's both ways. It's good to have them on one hand. Another hand, the cost of having another committee that is similar to a former one. So that's my take on that.
Okay, thank you very much, RB Kefas. There, you're looking at the cost, and if it will be effective, it's cost effective to have this committee based on your opinion that the past there was a similar committee in the past, and we've not seen the work done. Now, Dr. Temuso, I would like to ask, looking at the composition of the committee, especially at the first list where we have the Right Honorable Ndudi Elumelu as chairman, Ms. Jacqueline Yawa, we have Honorable Haruna Manu. These are national figures, people known across Nigeria. I will try to put two questions into one. One, is it necessary for us to have these people not from Taraba as part of this summit? Is that a plus? Or will it be a baggage? Because probably they don't know much of Taraba. Probably maybe there are some of the opinions that it should have been a summit by Tarabans who understand the terrains, who have knowledge of Taraba and what needs to be done about Taraba. So let me take your view on that, on the composition of these other Nigerians that are on the committee.
All right, thank you very much, Abraham. So maybe just to start, I know my name is from the other side, so you can just call it Dr. Ten.
Okay, Dr. Ten.
So looking at this committee, right, and I would like to take off from one of the statements made by the first speaker, in person of RB Kefas. The composition of the first committee that was inaugurated, which was made up of basically the National Assembly members and other former or incumbent members of government at the federal level. Right from the first day they made that announcement and I saw that list, I knew it was just for show. Let me be very honest. So that one, it was already dead on arrival. Nothing was going to come out from that, right? So to some extent, there was a little bit of hope looking at the composition of this committee. That is not to say that we do not have concerns, right? Just like RB Kefas has raised, when you look at the composition of the committee, and we have a lot of people that will need to be coming into the state from outside, there are two sides to it. So on one side, maybe there's some information they have that we don't know. Maybe the governor has. Maybe those are people he can be able to use and penetrate and link up to people. Just staying with the fact that Ndudi Elumelu is a younger brother to Tony Elumelu. Maybe there is a pathway we can be able to get the Transcorp business tycoon owner to be able to look this way and say, okay, there could be some sort of tourism. I know he's into tourism. I know he's into a lot of other things and hospitality. So maybe there is that angle of trying to see if this particular person, say, within the committee can be able to bring up some good sides to that, right? But again, there's the concern we have had because, I mean, I don't think there's anybody that has the data of the number of committees that has been created by our governor. Right, so there is the angle of probably you are just bringing people so that they will also get their share from the state and just leave. There are some exciting names anyway. Michael Magati, we know, are people that have actually been trying to pull a lot of things into Taraba before now. So probably that would work. The trip chairman, well, maybe the state is pulling him down, but he's an interesting fellow. If you meet him one-on-one, you will get to understand. But again, there's a lot of discouragement when you look at some of the committee members. Some people, it just seems to be routine. The governor just keeps repeating them. I was joking with one of the commissioners and asking him if he's able to name all the committees he's been listed in, right? So we have all those ones too as part of that. So for me, I have double concerns. I am skeptical on one end, and on the other end, I am hopeful that something good is going to come out from this. If not, at the end of the day, we're still going back to the very beginning. So that's what I feel about the committee. Yes, it looks good, it looks promising. If we're able to manage it very well, if we're able to manage the costs, the expenses, and everything, right? And they have very clear TOR and clear deliverables, clear targets that they are supposed to meet, which I'm sure is not there. I am very sure of that, right? But again, let's just keep our fingers crossed. Just be informed. Let's see what happens. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ten, for that insightful analysis that you did. Now, I just looked at, I did analysis of the opening address, the address of the chairman, Right Honorable Didi Elumelu, at the inauguration. Some of the some key points of his address was they are there to organize a successful international investment summit to showcase Taraba's investment opportunities and attract top national and international players to invest in the states. Now, RBK first. If you are in this committee or you are to advise this committee, they are organizing they want a successful international investment summit. Which area in Taraba will you tell them to focus on? Which areas do you think these are low-hanging fruits that instantly will attract investors? RBK first.
First, yeah, I like the word you used there, low-hanging fruits. That means something you can quickly pull down and enjoy the benefits.
Yes.
Largely, I will look at the agri sector, but the agri sector is still, well, it needs to be moved to a level of agri-business. So that's the fastest one. Already the locals there are already doing a good job at the local level with minimal support that will take it to the level of a business angle that will reach for investment. So those are the ones I think we should focus more on. Then secondly, solid minerals. That's another area. There is a low-hanging fruit. A lot is happening in the mining sector. Well, informally, people are doing their own thing apart from those who are doing the other ones. But these are the two areas I think the committee should focus on. The agricultural sector, whereby they will move the sector to the next level of mechanized farming, and then agri-business, where there will be more of not just farming and just moving them to market, but packaging them, final packaging for export, not just, outside Taraba. There are some species of food stuff we have, especially cereals, that needs to be repackaged in a way that will give more money. It's just like buying orange and buying Five Alive. It's cheaper to buy orange, but if you get to buy Five Alive, you make more money. So why not do both? Don't just do the grains, but do the final packaging so that you make more money for Taraba. The belt between Jalingo, down to Tella, down to Kari, that's a very wonderful belt. That's a lot to do with cereals, but the packaging is the problem. If the committee will look at that and see how we'll turn out the agri sector to an agri-business thing, it will be nice. Then solid minerals. We have a lot that is going in that area, but it's not, harnessed properly. Low, euro, zinc. They have interesting mineral resources that at the international market is big business, instant big business. Uranium. maybe I don't know, a lot of Tarabans don't know that we have uranium deposits in Euro, Lao, and Zinc. That's uranium. Uranium is a fuel used for power reactors, and that's what has been keeping France in Niger for a very long time.
Yes.
They get cheap uranium to fuel the nuclear power reactors they have there. You know, in Europe, France has the highest number of power plants that has come from nuclear reactors, about 50 or so. They power the whole of France. And then they get this uranium, a good one from Niger. But we have it here. Now that France is having issues with Niger, why can't we capitalize on it and make good money from the French government, especially now that we have our president, who I'll call a friend of France now? Why can't we capitalize on that and make it formal? Let it be a business. Come and mine this thing. We make good money. The French government makes its own good money. The uranium is just lying fallow there, except for illegal mining. You know, when you have this deposit in 3 local governments, that's a lot of money we have been making to get the uranium pellets to not just France but to Europe, because a lot of countries in Europe use nuclear power plants. So that's the 2 areas I want the committee to focus on, to move those business levels from normal agri to agri-business, then the normal mining to more mining business. You may wish to know that the president is heavily interested in the mining sector.
Yes.
I was opportunity to be in China last year. Part of the 7 points MOU the president started, mining is one of them, of solid minerals, and taking it to the next level of business. That's another area. A new agency has been formed in the last 2 years that have to do directly with sovereign mining. I didn't even know that agency existed until I met someone who was from that agency in Beijing, who was like, I asked him, do you have something like that? He said, they formed it when Tinubu came on board. And they're very serious about mining. They want to take mining business to the next level. Zamfara is already on board with gold. They have started exporting gold pellets out of the country from Zamfara. I said, so it means any state or any private person can plug in. He said, why not? It's solid mineral sovereign fund. That's how he calls. So why can't we plug in that? The investment summit is an opportunity. I want to believe some of them may be aware of this. And I pray they invite this China-Nigeria forum. It's a new agency too, formed by the Tinubu government, that is driving the 7 agenda that the president signed during the FOCA conference in France, in China. So if you plug in when it is still happening, you get to quickly enjoy the benefits. So I pray the committee, because most of them are coming from outside Taraba, I believe they are informed in this aspect. They may not be informed with what is happening on ground, but the opportunities to connect Taraba to these opportunities outside Taraba, they know it. Especially Elumelu Induji, whose brother is already everywhere, doing a lot. And he himself, well, I checked his profile, I didn't see much, but I know he has been into 1 or 2 things with Toyota, with former, defunct Gulf Bank, apart from other interests. So I believe his brother's business affairs will rub in for us through him, and we could take that advantage. So agri to agri business, solid mineral to solid mineral business, so that we cash out on that. We make money at the state level, the federal government makes money, and it takes us to that stage where our other customers will come. So I pray the committee look into those 2.
Okay, thank you very much, Abikefas. The issue of uranium, we will still come to that. That is a quite interesting one. But there's something that is on my mind that I want Dr. Ten to talk about. We're talking about coming to Taraba for investments, but we understand in the world now, just like as Michael Magaji said in one of this program, if they smell the data, they see the data, they will come. Do we have proper data that we can present to the world? Or don't you think this is just one of the things that probably maybe a subcommittee of this committee should be working on, gathering verifiable data that you can give to the investors from any part of the world can access. They don't need to come to Taraba to get it. Dr. Ten, what's your take on that, on data on Taraba? We have very vague things about Taraba. We have the highest mountain, we have this, we have that, but verifiable data, I don't think we have that. So what's your take on that, Dr. Ten?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, you almost made me to now start thinking that probably maybe you have gone to ask some questions about me. You've touched on something that is very, 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 very concerning to me. I'm very passionate about data. By professional training, I'm a field epidemiologist, so we deal with a lot of data and there has to be evidence. You know, there's something we say in the data world. in God we trust, but all others must produce data. Right? So once you are not God, you must have a data. And if there is anything that Taraba State is lacking at, is data. We do not have our data for anything, anyway. Quote me if I'm wrong. You can search for it. I think even if you walk into, let's say, Ministry of Agric and ask what's the total number of farmers that we have, they do not have that data. Let's go into the schools. And I'm saying this, considering that just last year when the governor came on board, last 2 years or last year, he set up a committee to collect data. I was going to ask you, probably because you have been following up with everything, what has come of that data? What have we used it for? Have we processed it? Do we have a suppository? Do we have where the data can easily be found, where we can use it, analyze it, look at what we have? Do we even have it already cleaned for us? We don't have that, right? We don't have. It seems like that was another exercise in futility. So, but just like you mentioned, if this committee wants to make any sense of progress, they must have to dedicate a lot of their time into collecting and gathering data, which they will then analyze and be able to see what the picture is, so that it will be able to guide. You know, for you to take meaningful decisions and to even know how to allot resources, you need the data to point the pathway for you.
Definitely.
So this committee would have to truly really work on collecting data. Agri-Kefas has already stated it. I don't think there is any fruit hanging lower than agriculture. And just like he rightly stated, it's not about increasing the number of hectares that we are farming. It's not about, you don't need to get people into the farming. What Taraba needs is to get into business of farming. They pick our grains from here all the way to Kano because they understand the business of farming. Talking about Ndu the Elumelu and linking it to his brother Tony Elumelu, who is the owner of Axe. Afex is a commodity, grains commodity exchange, and they have warehouses in Taraba. They are already doing the business of agriculture, which, thinking about that, makes me wonder if Elumelu would want to even do something more. He's already making a hell lot of money from Taraba State running that. And because what FX does, part of what FX does is they are collecting the data. They have the data. For the low-scale farmers, the medium-scale farmers, and the high-capacity farmers, we don't even have them so much. So it's very easy to actually work with that. Right. So this committee would need to identify those kind of data repositories that already exist. I know there was a project that was funded by the Gates Foundation before now through the UK government and the USAID government. We're able to collect some data on our grains, the species, what their properties are, and all those different things. They would have to really lay their hands on those things and try to see which one is a gold mine, which one is something that right now it is very hot in the market, and probably those are the kind of people they will need to target in trying to get to either come over or package whatever it is that they have as a pitch for why they need to invest in Taraba and then go meet them, right? But I think it is very clear we need the data. Right now, I don't think we have any form of data. That's my point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, still on that issue of data, Now, if you were to advise the committee or make a suggestion to the committee, time is not on our side. When we talk about for the short term, I believe there will be short term, medium term and long term goals for the committee and also for the state as a whole. But if now we need to put together data, you see, you're a person that works with data, that believes that apart from any other person will provide data. How do you think we can expedite this action in order to probably, like you all know, 2026 will be a year of election. Nobody will worry much about governance any longer until after another inauguration. So what can we do between now and towards the end of the year to ensure that at least some key areas, maybe probably identify some key areas that we can quickly collect data that is sellable, that sells Taraba. How can we go about that?
Yeah, so I think there are some very quick things they can do right now, right? The first thing which should be the most accessible to them, and if the work was done very well, should be the data of farmers that the governor mandated a company to collect. They should be able to lay their hands on that data and quickly run so a lot of analysis or to see what they can get out from that, right? But again, they need to quickly get to Ministry of Agri, Federal Ministry of Agri, State Ministry of Agri to collect some of the available data sets that we have that speaks to either quantities of grains that we produce, the nature and classes of the grains that we produce, other food items that we actually produce. There are some of those data sets. They are very disorganized in those places, but they will need to quickly access those places to gather all this together and begin to see how they can put a structure to it, right? They can go directly into the markets. Like I mentioned one, Afex. Afex has a lot of data. There are other great warehouses in Taraba from Kano, different businesses and organizations in Taraba. All they need to do is just get into the warehouse market structure platform. They would identify those people, collect the data on them, and approach them to gather the data. They will be able to quickly identify the kind of off-takers that we have, small scale, medium scale, large scale. Who are the people that are buying our grains, right? Because most of the times, yes, there are a couple of people buying it, but when you search behind, when you look deeper, you would see that it's normally one source that is outsourcing the supply to different parties who are just conveying, who are just into logistics, moving the grains from one point to another. So they would quickly need to go into that kind of research to identify who are the greatest of takers, what classes exist, who are the highest, who are the medium, who are the lowest. Same thing into the livestock market, because when you see cows moving, it's not just that random people are getting it. There is always a unifying point, right? So those big markets, the international grain markets, the international cattle markets, the national cattle markets, the national yam markets, those major markets are places they would need to go, identify the authority in those places, have a chit chat with them and say this and this and these are the things we need. We need to know where we can get the data for this. What quantity goes out from, or what quantity comes into here? How can you estimate? They may not get accurate figures, but at the end of the day, we are beginning our data collection process, which, as we continue improving, which should be part of their long term, we should be able to put a structure in place that is collating this data as we go on. So for me, those are the places I think they need to go to. The already existing companies, the Federal Ministry of Agri, the State Ministry of Agri, even the universities are places they can get some form of data, because there are some people that have actually done a little bit of research into some of those markets or some of those off-takers, right? So quickly they can access those ones and then go straight to the governor who inaugurated them to request for the data for the farmers, teachers. I think there are 2 or 3 different orders that he had asked the company to collect. That should be their starting point. Over.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ten, for that wonderful analysis there. Now, I'll be Kefas. Let us maybe move away from agriculture a little. There's this other thing very, very special about Taraba, which is tourism. But it is untapped. We have the Mandela Plateau, we have the Garashaka Gumti Park, we have the Rainbow Festival, we have even there's this Kutepa festival, is it Kututep or what, I don't know how to pronounce. We have different cultural festivals across, and we have also different landmarks, that water bodies that can serve as a tourist attraction. If you were to advise on tourism, I just want to stick to the low-hanging fruit, because we all know that we need instant revenue in Taraba State. What would you advise? How can you what package do you think we can sell to the world that will make them come to Taraba because definitely we don't have the infrastructure. We only have, I think, a cargo airport and media. So what was your take?
Yes, Tango will have a very, in fact, I always say he's the only commissioner in the whole list there. That's the commissioner for heritage and ecotourism.
Ecotourism, right? Yes, not only.
Yes, it is clear the young man is really a young man who knows the onions of the job, and he has stood out among the list of the commissioners there. So that is one problem solved. He only needs more motivation and more reasons why to continue doing what he's doing. Now we have something that we can compare easily and use it to market the tourism sector we have in Taraba. That's what they used to have. I don't want to say used to have, but it's now used to have in Obudu, in Cross River State.
Okay.
You know, there was a time we have an administration in that state that
everybody
being Obudu. The terrain in Obudu there's a replica in Taraba State. That's at the Mambila Plateau. That alone is a big point to sell out for tourism in Taraba State. The terrain is similar. The weather conditions are attractive. But now we have to think about transport. Okay, thankfully the airport is now functional. The airline will have one that is coming in now. We need more, but we need a connection between Jalingo and the Mambila. It's not easy going by road because of security challenges, and there's the distance. But if we can get those things right, we've gotten the airport in Jalingo right, but we need something that will move tourists who may not be comfortable with the roads from, Jalingo to the Mambila. And then we need to go, the commissioner and his people need to do a lot of documentary on that terrain. A lot of people just heard Mambila Plateau and it ends there. Okay, those who are deep, a little bit who are outside Taraba, the highest is Highland Tea, and it ends there. They need to know there is more to that terrain that has to do with tourism. Hotels can be located there. A lot of things that have been found, that have been seen in Obudu can be located in that Mambila Plateau. Which, in fact, it could even be cheaper. Because of the distance between Taraba and Abuja, and now we have a plane that will connect. So those are the areas we should start looking at. But the Winyo Fishing Festival is almost a brand name. I grew up to know about Winyo Fishing Festival. It went into the cooler, but I think they are trying to resurrect it. So the brand name for that is not so hard to make it go beyond Taraba. You only need more hands and more publicity, and it will go global. And before you know it, the water lines are there for the fishing festival and beyond. And a lot of other cultural festivals. The one you wanted to call that you are finding very difficult is Kuchiche. It used to be a very big one too. Whatever led to it now being downplayed, well, we'll pray that it will be resurrected, and then it brings attractions, it brings investment. And then if these things are harnessed and they become workable, the other spillovers are there. Hotels, the food industry, restaurants will spill up, hotels will spill up, and these hotels and restaurants, it's humans that work there. It creates another source of revenue for the government in taxes and tariff when they pop up. And when these tourists come into this country, not just into the country but to Taraba, they spend their money there. They pay hotel bills, the ones that will come from outside the country, the forex, we need them to be spent in Taraba. And these are also drives that will make the revenue shoot up. But we need to do a lot when it comes to publicity. A lot. Because the thing is this. They said, there is a man winking to a beautiful lady in the dark. Yeah, you are busy winking, trying to do what you are doing. But of course, he doesn't know what you are doing because it's dark. So we need to start making noise beyond the darkness, but in the limelight, and let them know this is what we have and this is what we can do and this is what is going to be. And the people are actually after adverts. Advert works a lot. That's what the former governor of Cross River did concerning the ranch in Obudu. That's Donald Duke. The noise about it was everywhere. That's adverts on DSTV. Virtually every 5 or 3 minutes of the most.
Everybody knew Obudu and Tinapa and Obudu.
Yes, I think is the best way to do it. You choose the best platform and advertise what the potentials of those areas are. And I tell you before you know it, people just will be interested. So a lot of publicity needs to be done on the potentials of those areas and all those ecotourism opportunities we have. A lot has to be done. We have to forget about the cost. They say sometimes you have to spend money to get money. So we have to do, but they have to be strategic adverts on the right platform.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm talking about the right platforms That is why we have Sun TV here. Sun TV is a very good platform. It's a national platform, and I can assure you that if we partner with Sun TV, we're definitely going to project, and that's what we do. We are being paid to project Taraba in the right light and ensure that our wins does not end up in the dark. Now, don't let me even restrict you with questions. I'm going to go to door to 10. Let me just say, okay, if you are in the committee today, what will you be telling the committee? What will you be saying if you have to make a presentation in the committee? Dr. Ten, please speak to that.
All right, thank you very much, Abraham. Maybe before I attend to your question, I would like to make a comment.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
What RBJ has said, right? Very, very insightful, very, very simple, pragmatic, Do you know, one of the easiest ways you can do free advert is go to the social media, right? Instagram, Facebook, and the likes. You would only find individuals posting about Mambila. I think there's a page on Instagram, Mambila Plateau, there about, but it's very minimal engagement, just about 300 and something followers, right? It's just an individual trying to push that kind of a thing out, right? What RBJ is saying is government needs to be more proactive about that kind of a thing. Nobody is asking government to do it. I am not a party to government doing everything. The job of government is to create the enabling environment for people to thrive. It's private organizations that employ, not government. Right? Government is just for welfare, security, and ensure that the right environment for business is in place. Government should be able to create that kind of enabling environment so that places like Gembu, Mambila Plateau can be on the limelight. Let me ask you a question. This young man that owns Fast Track Hotel, what investment, what did they have to call him to any summit before he went to build Fast Track in Gembu?
No.
Nobody. When we talk about low-hanging fruits, and if you ask me what I will be doing in this committee, if I am in the committee, I know that once you get there, you need to go through the various stages of forming a team, right? The storm, storm, and all those bits, right? But one of the key messages that will be given to them is, while we are thinking of the big fishes in the river, while we are thinking of the sharks and the whales, we can focus a lot on the small fishes that are able to do things. The young man that was able to go to Gembu and build Fast Track, the young people in Taraba or the middle-aged people that are able to have come together and as individuals build hotels, right? If you create the enabling environment for them, I still tell people that there are a lot of events we could have brought to Taraba from different organizations, but the major thing stopping that is that you don't have the kind of hotel to accommodate the caliber of people that will be coming in for that kind of a meeting. Before now, it used to be two things. One, you cannot transport them. Two, you can't accommodate them. Now the airport is open and functional. Fine, let's hope it stays that way. You can transport them. But where do you keep them? Where do you keep them in the kind of hotel that if you're bringing somebody from, say, US, and his government is asking if you can assure him of the security of that person, where is that kind of hotel? We have a lot of people opening different small-sized hotels, which government can be able to create that enabling environment for them to say, look, 5 of you can come together, pool your resources together. We will enable banks or other places to make loans available to you. Let's build a 5-star hotel, own it as a consortium. You make more money, right? That is the job of government. That is what this committee should be looking at. How do they pull the young people together, the Taraba-based people? There are a lot of people with money in this town that want to invest in this town. Nobody wants to carry his money and go to Lagos and Abuja and different places and want to start investing simply because you can't invest back home, right? Yes, those places give you high value, but there is always that urge in you to do something back home. Right? Now, if that environment is created, if you are able to show people there is a clear path for people that will coalesce together to form a mega farm in Gasol. Let's have mega farms. When you are in flight, and you look down, if you are almost approaching Taraba to land, and you look down, you would see small land. In fact, some you can't even differentiate them. Very small, tiny, like massive. Despite the fact that you are very close to the ground. But if you are flying to other countries or flying to other places where you see those big mega farms, you will be in flight and all below you will just be green. That's the farm, right? The closest to it here is the Savannah farm you have in Numa. When you are traveling over that, you will notice it. No matter the height you are, you will notice it that there is something here, right? That is what that committee should work through. That is what I'll tell the committee to work through. There are a lot of people. Look at the small warehouses that people are trying to build in front of their homes, in front of shops, in front of, all because they have nobody to tag along with. They don't even understand where they can access funds. They don't know that they can form a consortium, they can come together, they can go into partnership with government and build a mega warehouse that does a lot of things that they cannot be able to do as individuals. That is the kind of thing that committee should focus on. So I will tell the committee that we need to begin to gather data on the small scale investors in Taraba, the small business owners, the small scale people that are striving to see if they could get access to loans, access to financing from different places so that they can grow. Let's try to bring them together. Let's try to create a structure or a kind of platform that brings them together into partnership with government and amongst themselves to coalesce and form one big unit. They are always better off in one big unit, right? Okay. That is the kind of message I would drive out at the committee. We gather that data, we're able to present. Imagine you walk to, say, during the meeting, you are able to pull, let's say, a Chinese company into Taraba that is into, let's say, infrastructure, housing, right? And you are able to tell them that there are 1,000 mini estate owners in Taraba State. People that have houses that range between a block of 2 flat rooms to a block of 6 flats. There are about 1,200 of them existing as individual units, right? But you think this is a good number of people that are willing to do this business? You think you can be able to bring these people together under one roof and discuss with them and say, look, rather than going to all these small places, can we look at a mega estate city? I still tell people that we don't have houses in Taraba, we don't have estates, we don't have any. Our best estate is still Technopark, right? We don't have anything. And we bring this kind of people. Imagine having those kind of numbers when you are engaging people. And so what the committee should do is to be able to gather the data that we have on the ground, the locals, the people that are willing to invest here, people that are willing to pull out their money and do. I probably want to go into estate. I don't know if I'll be careful.
Hello? Hello?
I don't know if you, Abraham wants to go into it, or if Abikefas wants to go into it. But imagine 3 of us. Maybe I have the funds to build 6 blocks of flats. Abikefas has to build 10. Abraham, you have to build 10.
Hello, Dr. Tom?
We rallied together to build an estate that is big, that is able to provide some form of other amenities, and people troop into it, right? Just imagine the impact of that kind of investment. So for me, that is the message I would give this committee. We must have short-term and long-terms. We must have close targets and long-range targets. We should be targeting the people down here. We should also be mapping people out there and targeting them. There are a lot of people with lands in Taraba that are just lying fallow all around the Jalingo metropolis. Bring them together, tell them, okay, let's form estate management companies. We're bringing builders so that we can target builders and tell builders, look, come, we have 10,000 square meter of land. We think you can use this to build a lot of this and that and this and that, right? Those kind of things. Those are the kinds of messages I would drive into that committee if I am a member of that committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ten. You've spoken well and widely on this. this issue. And I'm very sure those listening will be clapping for you wherever they are out there. And I'm also sure some members of the committee will definitely be listening, or I will ensure that they listen to what you said. Now to RB Kefas. RB Kefas, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Now, thank God your name is Kefas. So now I want you to put on the garb of the governor, Dr. Abu Kefas, just for this moment. Act like you are Dr. Abu Kefas, and you are speaking to the committee you inaugurated. What will you be telling them should be their term of reference and their actual deliverable? Just put yourself in the shoes of Dr. Kefas. You're already Kefas, maybe just for a moment.
Interesting. All right. Well, I think the first thing he has to do is just like Dr. Ten said, there should be a short-term and a long-term plan for some of this area of interest. You know, the best area, the low-hanging fruits area should be the one with short-term, which is the agribusiness, which is, I call it agribusiness, not agriculture, because we need to move away from normal agri to agribusiness. Yes. And then the solid mineral sector. Those ones they just need packaging, the final packaging, then sell out there. So one of the term of reference is to focus on those two areas that are the low-hanging fruits in Taraba and the packaging. Invite those who are into this packaging industry locally and let them know the modern way to repackage this thing to be, so that there will be a brand out there. Already we have tried to do Highland teas everywhere. It may not be enough, but at least I've walked into several supermarkets in FCT. You see Highland teas flashing all over the shelves whenever you go to the beverage section. That's already a brand in a lower level, but we need to go beyond that. So those are the low-hanging fruits that we have, the agri-business thing, and then the solid minerals thing. It should go in there short-term. We don't want a long-term thing that have several meetings, several come-and-go meetings, several communiques, several reports. No, these ones, you just need the final packaging. 3-6 months, something will pop up. Because these guys are experienced people. I've gone through some of their profiles. So they shouldn't find it very difficult to connect us to some of their friends in the industry, where we can quickly, just the way Ten reminded us of Afex. The Ilumelu family, they have interest in Afex. So the data is already there, the investors are already there, the players are already there. You only need to tell them, this time around, here is a fertile ground. That's Taraba State. Come in there. This is why we want you to be here. That's why we brought you on board, not just a member of the committee, but the chairman of the committee. Thank God once again, Elumelu is there. Hospitality, the number 3 thing I want to say is our low-hanging fruit. If you get Mambila right, the spillover is the hospitality thing. He is already there with his brother running Transcorp. They know what it means to have a spillover of a mini Transcorp in the Mambila. The weather is there all through the year. What people are running out there to go and get abroad, you can get it in the Mambila platform. They can just use their brand platform and sell out Taraba. We already have the terrain is there. Massive hotel, just the way Ten said, if you cannot do it, you can bring a consortium of friends, combination of both locals as Tarabans and some people out there. If it means bringing people from outside the country, why not? And they get this thing done in those areas, and then it will quickly pop up. So it's not that hard. But when we want to do the normal bureaucracy, meetings upon meetings, and there's no political will, there's no interest, we're not going to get anywhere. But this, as the governor will say, focus on the final packaging for agri products, focus on solid minerals. Number 3, tourism. Simple. These things, you see result will spill if there is political will in 6 months, maximum 1 year. There's already something on ground that has been done a lot in those areas. Those are the first ones that will pop up what we want in that area. So I think those are the areas, Governor, I will let them concentrate on. There are others that will take more time, but these are the low-hanging ones. Agribusiness, solid mineral, then of course ecotourism. Okay. Those ones just need a little bit from the experience of the members of those communities. Thank God there are a lot of them. And I saw Ruben Kefas say yes. He is a son of the soil who I know personally. He has worked with Nigeria Investment Promotion Council. He is widely traveled. So he's another asset in that committee that he should use his wealth of experience in that commission and then help Taraba to pop out there or get investors into the country.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that. Those are the things I will tell them as a governor.
Okay, thank you. Before I move on to Dr. Ted, with you again, you said something about the uranium, the deposit of uranium, and the federal government package for such a mineral, and also you spoke about France and China in your first statement. Now, I want you to elaborate further on that. So that maybe the members of the committee, since you have inside knowledge on this, elaborate further on that.
Yes, uranium is the fuel that fuels the nuclear power plants. The nuclear power plants is for electricity. Now, uranium is the fuel and nothing more. Now, a small pellet of uranium, maybe the size of a chocolate bar, can fuel a nuclear power plant. That size of a chocolate bar is similar to about 10 drums of or more of diesel fuel. That's how little you need for uranium to power a nuclear power plant. Now, nuclear power plants are most of the things that give most countries in Europe and Asia, most of their electricity come from there. I'm using France because France is the biggest market for uranium because of the number of nuclear power plants they have, about 50 or so that powers France and especially the industrial sector. One of the reasons France is in Niger, there are so many other reasons apart from being their colonial masters, is getting uranium. They have the uranium field that they've been mining for years and for the nuclear power reactors over there. Now the new government in Niger are having issues with the French government to the point that they've already sent the French government almost backing out of that country. So it's an opportunity for us to cash out. What you cannot get in Niger, you can get in Nigeria. It's here. Aside the fact that our president is a friend of the Macron government and Macron himself, it's an opportunity to cash out. And this field has been untouchable, except for illegal mining. It has been untouchable around Singlau. So you need to start selling it. If you cannot use it locally, because we don't have a nuclear power plant yet in Nigeria, but we are planning to have one, why not start selling to outsiders there and start making money instead of allowing it to ride fallow when you have to make money, especially in a situation where we have an economy that's is becoming too difficult to get money or revenues. Why not go and start looking for international partners to start drilling this thing and start mining this and start making money from uranium? So uranium is the fuel. When you get France as a major deal through Siemens and others, other European countries will come. One of the largest nuclear power plants is in Ukraine. They get their fuel too from all over the world. Why can't people make fuel? We have friends. That's why we have embassies there. Just tell them, hey, come to Nigeria. We are open for investment. If you're having problem in Niger, why not Nigeria? We're just next door neighbor there. A virgin land, a virgin minefield. You get the uranium there. Who knows? They said Nigeria, everything we have here is always the best. So it could be one of the best uranium. Maybe if you need a chocolate bar, there's maybe around 10 inches to find a nuclear power plant for 3 days. Who knows? Maybe the uranium in Taraba, maybe you have 3 inches size of uranium bar that will power a nuclear reactor for more days. So these are the areas we need. We should just not restrict ourselves to just agri. The minefields are there. I also know we have gold deposits in Taraba at the Gashaka, the axis. In fact, illegal mining is already going there from news I've been hearing from, we have gold deposits there, and that is what Zamfara State is beginning to make money from. From what I've learned from the guy from the Sovereign Mine Corporation that has just been formed, is that Zamfara is already exporting gold out of this country. The Chinese have formally signed a contract agreement with the Ministry of Solid Minerals that they are mining gold officially for the Nigerian government. And it's not just about the Nigerian government, but the owners of the field, that is Zamfara State government, is getting its own percentage, it's getting its own cut. Stressless. The federal government is doing all the drilling with the international partners, but the Zamfara State government is getting its own revenue from that because the deposit is in Zamfara. Why can't we do that with uranium too? Why can't we do that with our gold in Gashaka too? And get some money out of it instead of the illegal mine that is going down. The government is practically getting nothing out of it. So that we do not just be fat and the normal Madrid and other areas that we're doing IGR. We have big IGR for, in fact, the IGR for uranium, if you start dollars, it will be in dollars, it will be in euros, not just naira. And that it's good money for us. Then apart from that, the other spillover effects of the official mining, if you go into agreement with this government, is job, because there are companies, about 2 companies, Sonite in Niger, that used to do it. That is job opportunity, and the salaries will not be local, to be in forex, because it's an international company. Our sons and daughters will get what they call local content attention for job. So we are making money, generating Nigeria, and then job opportunities. So these are the 2 areas what the committee should focus on. I pray our governor is aware of the benefits yet on tap, but there are big IGR in waiting.
Thank you very much, RB Kefas. I really appreciate that, and I'm very sure that through Sun TV, this your thoughts, this your advice goes to the right sources. Thank you very much. Well, we're almost coming to the end of the show. Time is never our friend here. We're having this kind of interesting conversation. But before we go, Dr. Ten, what's your final thoughts? What are your final thoughts on this matter?
Are we ever going to have a final thought on such a very important matter?
No. For this particular episode.
Yeah. So just to echo off some of the points raised by RB Kefas, which are extremely important, right? Speaking with people, when people ask me, "Are you from Taraba? What are the things that are there?" I sometimes get lost because you don't even know what to speak about, right? What is it that we lack? What is it that we do not have? That's the question to ask, right? If you are talking of land resources, water resources, we have them in abundance anyway. If you are linking up the other rivers, Donga and the rest of them, Tella, that contributes major rivers to that. And then you start talking about the other minor rivers. I mean, Taraba should be an irrigation landmine if we want it to be, right. But again, to move away from agriculture, tourism, like RB Kefas has listed, and maybe just to be clear, because I know that there have been some shifts here and there. RB Kefas, the mining sector is still an exclusive thing, or is it on the concurrent list right now?
Yeah, it's exclusive thing.
Yeah.
For now. Yeah.
All right. So if
really are talking about this.
Yes,
very
on the exclusive list, right? So the government, maybe through the committee now, should be asking the questions: what do we need to get Tarabans to be miners at the federal level, so that they are setting up companies and registering at the federal level? Government is fast-tracking that process and ensuring that a lot of our local indigenes owns those mining firms or mining companies, right? So that it's not just the Chinese that are coming to mine, it's not just the other people that are coming to mine. We should have our own local people. We should have that kind of arrangement, right? So that we are able to start looking at how to, first is not just to remove the solid mineral from the ground. Can we begin to look at if we can set up cleaning centers? Can we begin to look at if we can set up processing centers, right? The same approach we want to do for agri, in trying to make sure that it's not just the raw material we are pulling out of the states and sending to other places. What if we do all the value chain at the front here in Taraba? The processing, the bagging, the branding, everything, and people just buy the finished product from here, right? So what I would say about this is just very simple and straightforward. For me, I'm beginning to get to the place. I've been trying to not go down that path, but when I hear RB Kefas speaks with a lot of passion about these things, it begins to touch some parts of my heart, right? I don't want this to be like all the other committees that the governor has set up. I may be wrong, Abraham, but I don't think there's any single committee report that has been implemented in Taraba. And the governor has been setting up committees right from the very beginning, right? So I just hope and pray that this doesn't go down that same path. That's number one. Number two, that they don't go out on very lofty ideas. They don't go around on trying to see how to get World Bank to give them $5 billion, how to get somebody to give them $10 billion. There are so many things that we do not have down here that will not make any sensible person push that kind of money to Taraba. I mean, you need to about tourism. You need to be able to find a way to either make the road between Jalingo to Gembu smoother or bring in an air transport service, a chopper. It's a form of tourism. It's a part that picks people from here, lands in Mayo Selby or somewhere around Gasaka area, and people take a car ride around it and down. Right? Since have a good place in Gasaka Gunti. I know they have gone into some partnership with, I can't remember the name, One African something, they leased it out, right? But it's able to get a lot of our local investors. I mean, Tiwa is from Taraba, for God's sake.
Yes,
right? So we should begin to approach this kind of men with things that would be able to make them pool. I mean, just a 10 billion investment from citywide into some sectors in Taraba will be a major turnaround.
Thank you.
I would tell the committee to look, they can look far, but they should look very close. They say what you want is in your Sokoto. They should look close. They should be open-minded. They should not look down on anybody. They should be able to expand their scope to bring everybody on board. And they should not be thinking of funding just to come from somewhere. Let them try to see. I think the most important association is people. If you bring people together, that's the first wealth that you are pulling together.
Thank you.
Right? So let them try to see how they can do that. And then we can start from there and see how it improves along the line. That would be my final thoughts on this. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Ten. RBK first, just in 30 seconds, your final say on this matter.
Just the way Ted said, it could be what that thing we are looking for in Sokoto is actually in our
Sokoto. Yes.
You only need to get just get the right people, believe in them. They just need that drive, and you see things happening.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ten Muso and RBK first. Thank you very, very much for your contributions to the programs today. And you can see that the passion exhibited by these citizens of Taraba, they love the state. We all love our Taraba. And just like Dr. Ten said, whenever people ask us, the question is not, what do you have in Taraba? The question should be, what don't you have? Because we have basically everything in Taraba, and God bless those that say we are nature's gift to the nation, and we have potentials, but it is time for us to move this potential to the kinetics and begin to see the effect of, we begin to see the good of, begin to eat the good of the land, and we all hope and pray that this committee should be the pivot that will take us to where we need to be. Thank you very much, everyone. RBK first, Muso. I'm very sure you are all looking forward to Champions League match this night. Hello?
Oh, well, I'm interested in the one that's coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I know we are all Ghana fans, and I'm looking at the semi-final ticket. Tomorrow match to me is inconsequential if you ask me, because I believe the Gunners will bring them down the second time.
I will come back now to the banner view. You guys will see what will happen to you in that place.
I don't care. You can say I'm proud. Yes, I'm a very, very proud Gunner fan. I'm saying with all pride that we are going to run down Madrid again. Maybe a 4-0 scoreline tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much, RBK first. Thank you very much, Dr. Ten Muso. I'm very sure we always bring you back to today's priorities to discuss other issues, both national and state issues. Let me allow you to go so that I can round up the show. Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
Looking forward to that.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, that was Dr. Ten Muso and Mr. R.B. Rukwende Bitrus Kefas. They spoke on their thoughts on the committee for the summit inaugurated by the government of Taraba State. And I would say they've spoken so much, and I believe you, the viewer out there, you've been enlightened, and your capacity